Hey, all right, so this is a little bit of a more advanced technique with respect to my strategy, but some people in the group are familiar. I've mentioned this before. I've talked about it several times on Twitter and done a couple videos about how essentially when you're shorting, what you're doing is you're borrowing a Bitcoin from the exchange, you're selling it for $10,000. Price goes down to 8,000. You buy a Bitcoin back and you give them their Bitcoin, right? You owe them a Bitcoin. You borrowed it from them. So, hey, Poloniex, let me borrow a Bitcoin. Hey, Coinbase, whatever. Those exchanges, an exchange that does margin trading. Hey, BitMEX, I'm going to borrow a Bitcoin. Thank you very much. You then sell that Bitcoin for 10 grand, buy it back for 8 grand. Here's your Bitcoin back. Our business is done. That was a margin trade. You traded on margin. It's money you don't have. You were taking out a loan of a Bitcoin. You now have $2,000 left over. That's your profit. The lender is going to get a cut of that, but that's what short selling is. You're borrowing coins to sell. Now, you can short sell your own personal assets. So I call it personal asset shorting, which removes a huge aspect of that risk. When you're not trading on margin, you don't need to worry about margin calls. You don't have to worry about getting your margin called, your contract called, and then essentially taking a loss. Even though you might bounce back and you might end up winning that trade, you're going to take a loss if you ran out of margin. If you're using your own assets, that's no longer an issue. You have full control over your risk. Your exposure is fully within your control. So, in this case, perfect example. I didn't sell my assets. I let myself get stopped out. So on ICX, I got stopped out with 14.5% profit on stop loss A. And then I got stopped out on this last wick on stop loss B for 11% profit. Right now we're bouncing up a little bit, but I think we're still going to come down a little bit further because I anticipate at least going down to that 50% retracement. I thought originally we were going to hold above my lower stop loss at the 382, but since that failed, pretty sure we're going to go back down to this 0.5. So I'm going to give this some time and see how it plays out. Uh-oh. Baby monitor. So anyway, here's my plan. I'm going to buy back. Motherfucker. God damn it. All right, I got to go. I'm going to buy back right around here, right above that 50% retracement. That's my buyback zone. So my trade's closed. I got 14.5% profit here, 11% profit there. So I got this huge, roughly 13% profit on this trade. That's great. I got all my money out. Now I'm sitting on all this profit. What I'm going to do is buy back in. So now instead of having 1,000 coins before, I'm still going to have 1,000 coins, but I'm paying much less for them. I'm going to be paying, instead of up here, right, I'm paying 4% less for those 1,000 coins. But I'm going to have all that leftover cash. So now I have leftover profits that I don't have to touch. I get to walk away with those profits, and I get to go back to being in this trade as if I never got stopped out. That's how it works. So that's essentially what I'm doing here. It's a little bit of an advanced strategy because you have to time your buybacks right. And if you buy back here and then it keeps falling, do you keep laddering in? At what point do you stop? Plus, if you were to buy back right here and you set a stop loss, you don't want to set a tight stop loss of 1%, 2%. In case it keeps dropping, you'll get stopped out of your buyback. So you want to be able to take on more risk. Since you have profits and you're working with profits here, you have a lot more flexibility with how much exposure you can take, right? In my case, I'm going to take on a lot more risk than I normally would because I have that profit to work with, right? I'm playing with house money, so to speak, so I can be a little bit more liberal with the risk that I'm taking on here. All right, I gotta go because the kids are still crying, but that's my plan. I'm going to be buying back very shortly. See what happens. Now, also, if this plan fails, if we bounce right now and we shoot back up, I got out of this trade with a bunch of profit. I missed out on buying back lower. Worst case scenario, I could buy back when we hit the 236 Fibonacci retracement right here at 3240. Is it ideal? No. I'm going to be buying it back at a price higher than I sold it at, so I'm missing out on some profit, but it's not the end of the world. I want to get back into this trade because it has so much potential longer term. This potentially could be another 70% run for as long as BTC remains stable. ICX could be one of those major winners. So, all right, guys, trade safe.